الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على السلام حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Hazrat Msih Maoud alayhi salam.
Hazur says that Hazrat Msih Maoud ﷺ says that according to the teachings of Islam, the faith of Islam, there are two parts of it. Or in other words, we can say that this teaching is aimed at two big objectives. The first, to know one Allah as He is present, and to love Him, and to put oneself completely dedicated in its total obedience, and as it is the one of the condition of love, requirement of love. And secondly, that in the service of mankind, human beings, and to spend all his faculties and abilities, and starting from the king to the ordinary person, anybody who is able to show some beneficence, he should be behaving the people in a very beneficent way. He says that Allah Almighty has divided His teaching into two parts. The first is dues to requirements to Allah, and the second is the obligations towards mankind. And the first is that Allah Almighty is to be taken as the worthy of worship, and secondly, to be kind to the creation of Allah Almighty. This is not right that only because of the enmity of the difference of religion one should be put to torture. There are so many such statements and so many sayings. We find all these things, they draw our attention to our responsibilities, which Hazrat Msih Maoud ﷺ has mentioned in his books and in his malfuzat, his discourses. And this is the teaching to establish the dues of Allah and the dues towards mankind. And this is what is needed by the world today. And this is the teaching which we always present to the people of the world. And when we do so, the people, they are very surprised. And when we go into the further details of this teaching, and then we explain the detail of that is presented to these people, or they are mentioned to these people, so then the surprise of the listeners grows more than that. It becomes even more, because normally in the non-Muslim world, they have heard about Islam, whatever they have heard from these people who are non-Muslims. They have heard only this much, that Islam is a religion of terrorism and extremism and of usurping the rights of other people. And their argument, they present this argument, they present with the support of the example of the Muslims, which unfortunately some sections of the Muslims and some people, the Muslims, in the name of Islam, they are doing it. And as I said, that when the reality of the teaching of Islam is presented from the Holy Quran and from the noble example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and also from the example of the Khulafai Rashidin, the rightly guided caliphs, and through the example of the true believers, then the reality becomes quite evident to the people. And when this is told, that this teaching of Islam, in order to enforce that in this age, Allah Almighty has sent Hazrat Msih Maoud ﷺ in this age, and it is Jamaat Ahmadiyya is the one who is spreading and also tries to act upon and follow these teachings. Then the attention of the world that is drawn to the Ahmadiyya Jamaat, I have seen that even the worst enemies, when the teaching of Islam is presented in the best manner, and this teaching is presented to them, and through the practical example, this is also supported. So then there is a very great impact is there upon the people. So without going into the further detail of this teaching, what is that teaching? I would like to mention that recently, few days back, that Jamaat Ahmadiyya Ireland, the first formal purpose-built mosque was there, opened. You would have listened to my sermon from there, and in the evening there was a meeting with the non-Muslims. There was arrangement of the reception that was also telecast live, so that you would have listened. In that function, with reference to this Islamic teaching, I mentioned certain points. And normally, in front of these non-Muslims, I always speak in this way. And normally, it generates a great impact upon these people, and they are very much impressed. In Galway, in Ireland, those non-Muslims who had come in the function, and apart from that, there was press interviews, and also with the politicians and with the intellectual people. With reference to the teaching of Islam, I was able to mention certain things. They were also impressed, and they openly mentioned that this is the good quality of the Irish people, that positive or negative impact or the impression, whatever they have, they openly say that. If they don't like something, then they keep quiet, do not unnecessarily they say any words of praise. So today, with reference to this visit, certain things I am going to mention, and also the impressions of these people. By listening to these and later on by reading that, our hearts are drawn to the praise of Allah Almighty, that how Allah Almighty creates the opportunity for the introduction of the Jamaat and enables us to spread the true teaching of Islam. In Ireland, when I arrived on the very first day, the Jamaat had arranged a meeting with the speaker and with certain parliamentarians. There was a meeting arranged to meet them, which was conducted in a very good atmosphere. The Speaker of the National Parliament of Ireland, I met him. He is very courteous and a man of open heart and having kindness, and a person who upholds the values of justice. He said that I know something about the Jamaat, and I always value the activities of the Jamaat and the services. Although the Jamaat is small, but it is very active by the grace of Allah. And with his own reference, he said that I went to Africa and Rwanda because of certain problems there. Anyway, these things were mentioned. The service which Jamaat is rendering in Africa, I told them something about that, how we are running the hospitals and schools, and we are providing the drinking water to the people, and other welfare works are being conducted and carried out. And all this thing is done without any discrimination of religion or creed. The thing which surprised them most was that when I told them that in our schools we give the religious teaching, but there is a freedom and there is a liberty to the people, to the students. Students of all religions, they can study about their own religions, whatever they like. Bible is also taught. After listening to that, the speaker was greatly surprised, because in Christian schools, they by force, they only teach Christianity and they only teach Bible. And the Bible teaching, the Christian teaching is by force. The Muslim students have also studied that. So after listening that this sort of liberty is granted by us, he was greatly surprised. And then he said that terrorism, with reference to that, in some places, the Christians are also committing injustice in certain places, but nobody blames Christianity. And he said that this is the difference. that from the Muslims,
तासुब का इजहार हो रहा है दुनिया में,
the prejudice which is expressed in relation to the Muslims,
सिर्फ से कोई गलती हो
if some mistake is committed from the Christianity, then Christianity is not put to blame. But if a Muslim does a mistake or does something unjust,
तालीम को बदनाम करने की कोशिश,
and then people try to defame the Islamic teaching and put the blame on that. Anyway,
खुद ही उनका ये ख्याल था, इसलिए
this was his view, and therefore he totally agreed with this point.
कुछ की 20 के करीब पार्लियामेंटेरियन के साथ,
And there were about 20 parliamentarians who came to meet me,
मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं
and there is a member of parliament, Hammond Kane,
जिन्होंने तारुफ भी कराया, उसके बाद
who introduced me in that meeting, and also he praised the Jamaat because he is a old friend and he knows about the community.
भी हुए,
There were some questions also in that meeting.
जिनको जहां मैंने उनको बताया
In reply to that, I told them that according to the prophecy of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
आमद
the advent of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam has taken place, and I introduced everything, and other things were also mentioned there.
सियासतदान समझते हैं
These politicians, they understand
जमात अहमदिया
that perhaps
दूसरे मुसलमानों
we,
को रखने की कोशिश,
the Jamaat Ahmadiyya, they try to separate them from the other Muslims, and if there is any opportunity, then we are not inclined to have any dialogue with them. So once somebody asked that,
ऐसा मौका
is there any opportunity has taken place, or if such opportunity is created, that non-Ahmadis or non-Ahmadi scholars are their leaders, if
आप हैं,
those who are opposed to the Jamaat, if you can sit together and discuss with them.
तैयार हैं,
Hazur said that I told them that we are always ready,
तो ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म
but if you can provide such a platform, we are ready to go there.
वो लोग नहीं आएंगे,
And I am sure that these people won't come.
यहाँ ही प्रोग्राम कर
There was a program recently here in BBC, on BBC,
नौजवान हैं,
our youngsters,
मेंबर हैं, एक
the members of the team,
उन्होंने बुलाया,
he was invited to go there,
तो भी सुनेंगे और
that we would listen to your point of view.
गैर जमात को भी
And a non-Ahmadi was also pointed out, invited there. And when he came to know that an Ahmadi is coming, then he denied to come. So this is what the point, they know that they actually do not have anything solid, and whatever they have, that is based on falsehood.
फिर
Then
औरतों की आज़ादी के हवाले से
regarding the freedom of ladies, women,
काफी
the point was explained to them and to their satisfaction.
फिर फिरका वारियत के बारे में
Then regarding the sectarianism,
भी उन्होंने सवाल किए,
they raised certain questions, that why these Shia and Sunni and other groups are there. So I told them that as the Jews and the Christians, they are divided into sects, so the Muslims are.
कि
But
की पेशगोई तो पहले
this was actually prophesied that these sects and divide will be there in Islam. And this is actually the reason of the start of the Ahmadiyya community, because the community has to bring them together. And this is the job which the Jamaat is doing at this moment.
बहरहाल
Anyway,
उनका बड़ा अच्छा
all these things, they impressed them very much.
रिसेप्शन हुई थी,
And some people out of them, they also came to the reception in Galway.
तकरीबन 100
When it came, because more than 100 guests, they were there. And 5 members of National Parliament and 2 senators, members of City Council,
स्टूडेंट गालवे
Chief Superintendent Police in Galway,
के नुमाइंदे थे, खुद भी बिशप
his representative, he was also bishop, he representing the mayor,
इंजीनियर्स
and doctors, engineers, and various types of people from the society. Anyway, in a very good atmosphere, this reception took place.
एक मेहमान सियासतदान हैं जॉन
John Robert is one politician. He says,
फंक्शन के बाद
after the function, he
कि आज
said
तकरीब ने मुझे
that this function today has uplifted me.
किताब से
With the address of the Khalifatul Masih, I am greatly impressed by that.
नजरिया
Regarding Islam, my view has completely changed today.
कहते हैं कि मेरे एक दोस्त
He says that one of my friend lives in Saudi Arabia.
हैं, वो मुझे इस्लाम के बारे
Whatever he is telling me about Islam,
में मैंने यहाँ
I have heard which is totally opposite to that.
सूरत इस्लाम को देखा,
And I have seen beautiful Islam here.
बातें सुन के आपकी
After listening to all what you said, I came to know that Islam is really a religion of peace and love and affection, and having good feelings for other people. The deputy mayor of the Galway county, he said
कि मुख्तलिफ अक़ायद से ताल्लुक़ रखने वाले लोगों
that the people belonging to various faiths, it's a very long statement that he made. I'm just reading out some part of that.
कहती हैं कि
She says that
कहते हैं कि
he says
ताल्लुक़ रखने वाले लोगों को ये
that this to bring them together, all these people of having different faiths, to see in one place, it's something very pleasing. And this proves that Ireland, and particularly Galway city, welcomes Islam Ahmadiyyat. So this is the beautiful teaching of Islam, that the opponents and the others, non-Muslims, they also appreciate this thing.
फिर डिप्टी स्पीकर नेशनल
Then the Deputy Speaker of the National Parliament,
माइकल पी के ने
Michael Peake, he said
तकरीब थी है
that it was a beautiful speech which we heard.
मेरे पैगाम के बारे में कहा कि
And regarding my message, he said that because of love and peace, the message which he has given, that is very encouraging.
कितनी ताकत
And this shows that how much force is there in the message of peace.
फिर एक मेहमान जो आए उसे तकरीब में कहते हैं कि मैं बहुत खुश हूँ
And then another guest says, who came to this meeting, that I am very happy with, I am greatly impressed with the message of peace and love, and I will convey this message to other people.
फिर एक मेहमान
Then another guest,
डर्डरी
Deirdre
कहना
McKenna,
कहते हैं कि मुख्तलिफ बैकग्राउंड से ताल्लुक़
he says that
एक जगह मुतहद देखकर
to see the people united, having different backgrounds, I am very pleased.
मुआशरे में कुछ हासिल की रवायत
May Allah make this meeting is the start of the cooperation and coordination between people,
मुस्बत ताल्लुकात इस्तवार
and
ज़िंदगी गुजारना
maybe that the people understand how to live the life respecting the positive values. So this is the beautiful teaching of Jamaat, which is being presented by the Islamic teaching, which is Islam is presented, and other people are also paying attention to follow this teaching.
फिर एक मेहमान
And then another guest,
ने कहा
he said
कि कोई शक नहीं कि आजकल लोग
that no doubt the people are very much afraid of Islam, but this meeting today, this has given us the teaching message of love,
तालीमात से आगाह
and the Khalifa has given us, informed us about the Islamic teaching of love and peace,
की तकरीब से हमने बहुत कुछ सीखा
and we have learned quite a lot from this function today.
फिर एक मेहमान
Then a guest, Daniel Claim,
कहते हैं कि
he says
मेरे खिताब के बारे में
regarding my address in that function,
बात बहुत ही अहम अमूर
that he has pointed out to some very important things,
कहते हैं कि हर शख्स
and he says that every person
सुन रहा था
who was listening to the address of the Caliph, he was very much impressed.
ये भी अहम बात थी कि खलीफा
And this was also the good thing, that the Khalifa,
रात का भी जिक्र किया
he mentioned about the contradictions in the Muslim world today.
फिर
Then
एक और इसी तरह
another,
तालीमात की हकीकी तालीमात का पता लगना बहुत सारे लोग
similarly, somebody has, other people have commented that they were impressed by the Islamic teaching,
को छू लेने
and somebody said that this lecture was full of wisdom and touching the hearts.
एक खातून में
And then a lady guest, she says that the message of peace that we have delivered and the explanation of jihad that we have given, I am greatly impressed by that.
का नाम ही मुआशरे में
And the name of the mosque is promoting the harmony in society.
किया गया
And I have come to know a new understanding of Islam by coming over this meeting. A councillor of the Galway County, Tom Haley, he says that may God
आम सारी
make it so that your message should resound in the whole world,
की सफीर बने
and you should become the true ambassador of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
सल्लम की भी इज्जत
These Christians, they are respecting the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
दुआ दे रहे हैं
and they are praying that this message of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam should be spreading in the world.
फिर
Then
एक खातून मेहमान
a lady guest
जो एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन डबलिन की
who is a Education Foundation of Dublin, he is a member of that.
मुझे
She says
मरियम बड़ा
that the name Maryam Mosque, I have appreciated this name very much, and by address I have come to know what is the status of Hazrat Maryam, and how the Holy Quran has mentioned about the Holy Quran, what praise the Holy Quran has mentioned. This is a very attractive point which should be told to all Christians who are always saying and speaking against Islam. I didn't know much about Islam, but after listening to the address of the Khalifatul Masih, I have got a very good impression about Islam today. A journalist lady who was there, Mrs. Bartha, she says that before today I was not aware of Islam at all. I have spent the whole day in Masjid Maryam, and the Friday sermon of the Khalifa and the address, I have listened to that. I have come to this conclusion that Islam is a religion of peace. I have seen with my own eyes that how good-mannered are the Ahmadiyyas are showing. So these are the good morals and good examples which impress the people, and we should show that. One Irish lady says that regarding Islam I didn't know much, but I just simply knew to the extent that we see in the news, that is the terrorist attacks and killing, but the things told by the Khalifa, they are very much different. That is the message of love and affection and peace. One guest who is a counselor, he says that before coming here I thought that Christians and Muslims are alike, just as we see in the media that Muslims are committing terrorism and they are doing injustice. But by listening to the address of the Khalifa, I am greatly impressed, particularly with the message of peace. And this motto, by looking at the motto, love for all, hatred for none, has impressed me very much. And he says that there is no doubt that Jamaat Ahmadiyya is also acting upon that, whatever they are preaching. And actually this is the message which the world needs very much. And the world needs to be told that there is a community who only spreads the message of peace. So when we hear these things, we should not simply be very happy, but the sense of responsibility should go on increasing. A lady counselor said, she says that in my opinion, when we came to this meeting, then everybody was tense to a certain degree. But when the Caliph mentioned this point in the address, that there are some people that the people might have been harboring some harm and danger about that, so then everybody was happy by listening to that, and they, with satisfaction, they listened to the address of the Khalifa. Then a journalist, newspaper journalist, says that this address, one is compelled, by listening to that, one is compelled to think that in the speech he has mentioned Islam, Ahmadiyyat, and he has mentioned that some extremists have changed the concept, and he has mentioned the teaching of Islam, of love and affection and peace. And this was very powerful speech which greatly impressed, and I am greatly impressed by that. He says that I know the community for 11 programs. They have been holding interfaith programs, and his thinking was there that people just do something in order to show to the people. So when he came and he saw the people directly, so then he was greatly satisfied that they always say the same thing which they preach, which they do. And there is a member of the National Assembly, she says, first he thanks and then says that I know many people in my circle, they are very active on the local level, all the Ahmadis, and they are playing important role in our society. And the ladies organization also gives charity to us. Anyway, all the organizations, they should contribute to the charities, and that expands your introduction of the community, and then with the expansion of the introduction, more opportunities of tabligh are created there. And then
गालवे काउंटी की डिवीजन की पुलिस
the police officer, chief superintendent of Galway County, he said
कि इसमें शामिल होना मेरे लिए एजाज की
that attending this meeting is an honor for me,
मुझे बखूबी इल्म है कि इस्लाम
and I know it fully well that Islam,
बंदी पर यकीन नहीं रखते,
the Ahmadiyya Islam does not believe in terrorism,
दूसरे मजहब को
and
का दर्श देती है.
and they always teach, this teaching gives the lesson that we should tolerate other people, and that is why the Ahmadiyya Jamaat has named the mosque as Maryam Mosque.
और फिर
And then
कहते हैं कि मैं
he says,
इस बात पर खुश हूँ कि आपने
I am very pleased
शहर का इंतखाब किया.
that you have chosen this Galway city for this purpose.
फिर कहते हैं जमात अहमदिया को
And he says that as a police officer, I assure the members of the Jamaat
हर किस्म का तहफ़्फ़ुज़ दिया
that we will take care of your protection, and the message that you are conveying to the people.
पाकिस्तान में या दूसरे ममालिक में
So in Pakistan and other countries,
किया जा रहा है.
our mosques are being attacked and damage is caused to them,
कुछ इस्लाम
and all this is being done in the name of Islam.
ईसाई दुनिया में
And in the Christian world, they are taking pride in this thing, that
बड़े शहर में
that you have built, you have chosen our city to build a mosque there,
और इस बात का इजहार कर रहे हैं
and they are mentioning that everybody has the right to do their worship.
पाकिस्तान
In Indonesia, in Pakistan, or in some other places, under the very eyes of the police, terrorism is committed.
में
So while in these Christian countries, the police officers are saying
आपको हर तरह का तहफ़्फ़ुज़
that we are going to give you all types of protection, and we will do our best for that.
लाख थे.
So these morals, actually these are the Islamic morals. These people have adopted that,
मानो की भूलती जा
and majority of the Muslims, they are forgetting that.
मेहमान
Then a guest,
सियासतदान अहमद साहब
politician Ahmad Sahib,
वो सियासतदान है.
he is a very seasoned politician. He says in 1989 he was elected as senator for the first time, and Minister of State he has served,
2010
and from 2002 to 10 was Minister of he was a minister,
मिनिस्टर ऑफ सोशल प्रोटेक्शन बने.
and Minister of Social Protection he was appointed in 2010. He says
मुझे
that in 2010 I had the opportunity of attending the laying of the foundation ceremony, and I am pleased that today this mosque is complete, and I am very pleased to be here today.
और जमात की मोहब्बत और प्यार
And I am greatly impressed by the teaching of this community of love and affection. He says
साबित किया है कि ये जमात अपने आप
that the community has established that the community is working according to its high moral values. The way the religious functions have been held by the community and by bringing the people together, I am greatly impressed by these efforts.
साउंड सिस्टम के लिए एक
Regarding the sound system of the one owner, Mr. Finton, he was the owner of the company,
काम करते रहे.
and he has been working before and later on as well. He came for the arrangement of the loudspeaker system.
मैं पढ़ाते भी देखा.
He saw me leading the prayer and leading the prayers and delivering the sermon. He says that I am a Catholic and I go to the church,
मैंने महसूस किया है
but by coming over here, I have felt that there is a change is coming, being taking place in me. I am at peace. I didn't find God in the church, but since I have seen the Khalifatul Msih leading the prayers, I am seeing God here,
मिल गया है.
and I have found God,
सजदे किए हैं और
and I have prostrated along with the Khalifa. He had been offering prayer behind us, and he says that I don't know the wording of the prayer, but the actions that you perform, and in prostration, in sajda, I prayed quite a lot for you people.
फिर प्रेस के जरिए भी
And then with the press, through the press,
जरिए तबलीग का
which is a great means of conveying the message, a lot of work was done.
है उनका एक टीजी
There is TG4. There was a news telecast there
उसमें मुझे खुतबा देते हुए दिखाया
in
गया.
which they showed me delivering the sermon,
चैनल को देखने वाले पूरे मुल्क का
and this is a national channel,
और एक अंदाजे के मुताबिक
and according to one estimate
5 मिलियन लोग
nearly 5 million people watch these programs,
कह रहे हैं पूरी आबादी देखती
or you can say the whole population sees. Then RT radio channel is there.
है, RTTV तो यहाँ भी
That is also it's available on Sky as well.
टीवी चैनल आता है, लेकिन
It's a
रेडियो ने
TV channel, but the radio over there,
भी 1 मिलियन है।
the people who listen that program is 1 million. They recorded the Jummah,
जुम्मे के बाद फिर मेरा इंटरव्यू
and after the Jummah they also had an interview with me,
भी दिया,
and they showed the whole thing without any change, just as it was, without any editing. They showed it,
RT
and this RT
हमारे ने इंटरव्यू लिया
and one reporter who interviewed me,
तो इस्लाम के बारे में सवाल किया,
he asked a question about Islam,
नफरत की जिससे
that your slogan "love for all, hatred for none," and whatever is being done in the in the world, are you not disturbed about that?
यही कहा था उनको,
So then I told them in reply
ये सिखाता है
that Islam teaches
न मारो।
that you should not usurp the rights of other and do not take the rights of other people. Don't do any injustice against anybody.
तो इस्लाम की हकीकी तालीम पर अमल
And we are acting upon the true teaching of Islam,
बुनियाद पर ये
and on the basis of that, this is the motto that we have.
हकीकी तालीम पर
And according to this very teaching, we are
अल्लाह ताला
acting.
कि अल्लाह एक है, और
And Allah Almighty has told us that Allah is one, God is one, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His messenger.
जो है
And Allah is the Lord of the universe. He is the one who is sustaining and providing them. And regarding the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has been mentioned as the Rahmatul lil Alameen, the mercy for the whole of mankind. So when the God is one, who is the provider of the whole universe, and there is one Prophet who is a mercy for the whole of mankind,
हो सकता है कि
so then how is it possible that in the teaching of Islam anywhere there should be any teaching of usurping the rights of other? All these things are totally false. And this is the foundation of the Islamic teaching, that love for all, hatred for none. So he was very much impressed by that answer.
फिर
And regarding the other, they have been asking about the Taliban or ISIS and other subjects.
फिर उन्होंने पूछा कि दुनिया
Then he asked
कहते हैं
that what do you say about the world?
से
Yeah, I said that the world, as it is groping into the disorder and
इसमें सिर्फ इस्लाम
problems,
सवाल नहीं है,
it is not the question related to Islamic states, but Eastern European countries.
और ये लपेट बढ़ती चली जा रही
And this area of disturbance is increasing if people do not show prudence and patience,
है, सही तरह
and the efforts for establishing peace are not done properly. Then a big devastation will be there, and it will become out of control, and that is actually the Third World War. And regarding that, they did mention in their news items.
जितना हमारे आयरलैंड जमात के सदर और
And
इंटरव्यू भी किया
and they also gave the interview of the president and also the missionary in charge of Ireland. And in Galway FM,
रेडियो है, इसमें
in FM radio, they also
वालों की तादाद भी 1,35,000 है,
their people of listener is 150,000.
कि नेशनल
And the national paper, Irish Time, is the national paper of Ireland.
अखबार दी 29
They also gave a news item on 29th September,
तकरीबन
and
सफे की खबर थी,
almost it was 3/4 of the page,
के साथ
and along with the photographs,
मेरी तस्वीर
with my photographs and the mosque,
इंटरव्यू लिया,
they gave the news,
इंटरव्यू के हवाले से कुछ
and
उसमें बयान किए।
and some of the points regarding the interview were also included in that report.
इस अखबार के कारीन जो हैं 1,80,000 हैं,
181,000 people read that,
तो
and on the internet a lot of people also watch this newspaper.
बहरहाल इन्होंने जब इंटरव्यू लिया तो
Anyway, when they interviewed me that what is the difference,
टाइम हुई और आप
why the Ahmadiyyat was established, what is the difference between you and the other Muslims, I told them
हजरत
that the real difference is, according to the prophecy of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that a time would come, and at that time the promised Messiah will make his advent, and the mosque of the Muslims would be full with people, no doubt,
लेकिन हिदायत से खाली होंगी
but they would be devoid of guidance.
और ये सारी तालीम जो है हदीस की रूह से सारी उनको
And all the teachings regarding that I mentioned,
ये भी बताया मैंने
and I also told them
बातें नहीं है
that these are not only these things, that Khilafat can be established by the saying of some people, and anybody who comes, he makes a claim. But Allah Almighty made the signs, foretold the signs, and one of them was the sign of the sun and moon eclipse.
उनको बताएं
So all these things were explained to them,
नोट भी की थी कुछ
and they noted them, and perhaps they have mentioned some.
इसी तरह
Similarly,
की आज़ादी
regarding the freedom of mosques and the protection, regarding that a lot of things were mentioned. Anyway, collectively we can say, in short we can say,
मीडिया ने हर लिहाज
in the media, in every respect, in television and radio and newspaper, they gave a good coverage.
मुल्क में ये
And in the whole country,
खबरें अच्छी तरह
these newspapers, they were well spread, and the introduction of Islam and Ahmadiyyat was made there.
बस इतना
So when we make a mosque somewhere,
की तरफ से
by the grace of Allah,
इस्लाम की हकीकी तालीम फैलाने का
that becomes the means and provides the opportunities of spreading the true teaching of Islam.
और ये भी अल्लाह ताला का एहसान है
And this is also the favor of Allah Almighty,
वो मेरे
that
मामूली तौर पर
He also blesses my tours.
बरकत और ताइदाद और तो
All these supports and blessings, and this introduction which is given, and the new ways and the opportunities which are provided, they are according to the promise of Allah, which He gave to the Promised Messiah and Imam-al-Mahdi.
हमारी तो मामूली कोशिश होती है
Our efforts are very humble,
और अल्लाह ताला की बेपाया ना
and infinite blessings and succor of Allah Almighty is there, from which each and every Ahmadi becomes more and more strong in their faith, and this should be the case.
मसीह मौद अलैहिस्सलाम एक जगह
Hazrat Msih Maoud says in one place that it is surprising that Allah Almighty, in order to polish the truth,
तायद में
and in the support of our dispensation, Allah Almighty is emphasizing so strongly, but still these people do not open their eyes. This is also one of the ways of Allah Almighty, that the rejection of these opponents, that attracts the protection of Allah and the help of Allah. He says that one opponent wrote me a letter that people have not left any stone unturned in your opposition, but we do not know the answer to one question, that despite all this opposition,
बात में कामयाब
you are being successful, you are becoming successful in each and everything.
ये सवाल हमें समझ नहीं आया
And this is the question we don't understand, this that we are opposing but you are becoming successful. And this is the question, and the same question is today by these people, but the support of Allah, the succor of Allah
के साथ हैं
is always with the Promised Messiah ﷺ, but they don't see that.
इनके नाम नहाद उलमा ने
Their so-called ulama,
ऊपर ऐसे पर्दे डाले हैं
they have put such curtains on their understanding and minds,
अंधेरों की तलाश
that instead of seeking the light, they are seeking the darkness.
कर रहे हैं
And they are witnessing and experiencing the wrath of Allah Almighty, but they don't understand these natural calamities and the killing of the Muslims and the bad condition. But they do not think over these. Why don't they think that what is happening to us at this time?
पर अमल कर रहे हैं
Are we acting upon the teachings of Islam?
क्या अल्लाह ताला के इनामात के वारिस बन रहे हैं
Are we receiving the blessings of Allah Almighty and His bounties? By their doings,
इस्लाम की तरफ
are we attracting the people of the world by our doings, or we are putting them away,
अल्लाह करे
putting them off?
उलमा
It may be that these so-called ulama and the leaders, the Muslims, may come out of their clutches, and the Muslims may be able to act upon the teachings and spread the same beautiful teaching to other people, and they should accept that Imam who has been sent for this very purpose.
हमारे तो ये शहीद करते हैं
And there is the martyrs of the various Ahmadis are martyred, but as a result of that, what satisfaction do they get?
कि सैकड़ों रोजाना नहीं तो कम से कम हफ्ते में मर रहे
If not every day, but hundreds of people are dying every week. There is disorder in Pakistan. Look everywhere.
हैं अल्लाह ताला हमें भी तौफीक अता फरमाए
Allah Almighty enable us that
अपने फराइज को पूरे तौर पर
we should be able to discharge our responsibilities in the best possible manner, fully.
आज भी
Today as well,
कभी जनाजा पढ़ा
I'm going to lead the janaza prayer of a shaheed, martyr,
पास में शहीद किया गया
who has been martyred in Mirpur Khas.
दो और जनाजे भी हैं,
And there are two other janazas. One is the janaza which is here,
उसके साथ ही सारे जनाजे होंगे.
and the other janazas are
साहिबा का
Dr. Rubina Kareem Saiba,
साहिब आयरलैंड
who is the wife of Dr. Abdul Munim Jojoa of Ireland. 27th of in September she passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un.
करम कुरैशी मोहम्मद करीम कुरैशी साहब
Muhammad Kareem Qureshi Sahib of Rawalpindi, she was the daughter of that.
साहबी
And Hafiz Muhammad Amin Sahib Sahabi of the Promised Messiah, he was the granddaughter of him.
आयरलैंड आई.
And 2000 she was Secretary General of Lajna in Ireland, and also from 2009 he was the Naib Sadr of the East Region. She worked for the Lajna
जुमा का इंतजाम
and the arrangement of the Juma
नहीं है सेंटर
in the center or the mosque. When it was not there in the mosque, it was at her house. She was very active in hospitality to the guest, regular in prayer, full of prayers, very good morals, behavior, looking after the poor people, and dedicated with the spirit of service. And he was always of good manners and being kind and very full of praise. He was very active in financial sacrifices, and for some time she was not feeling well. She was suffering from cancer, but with great patience and steadfastness she spent the time. Never ever she mentioned any word of complaint.
ये भी अब मिली थी
And she met me recently, and there are small children she has left behind,
मेरे इस माहौल में कहीं खराब ना हो.
and she was worried that my children should not be spoiled by the atmosphere here, and Allah Almighty protect them, and Allah Almighty keep the children in His protection.
ये मस्जिद के इफ्तार में बीमारी की वजह से नहीं जा सकते.
She couldn't attend the opening of the mosque, and on Saturday she passed away.
मैंने बताया
As I said,
दामद के अलावा इनके दो
apart from the husband, there are two sons,
फिनो हैं.
and both are in Waqf-e-Nau scheme.
जिस शहीद का मैंने जिक्र किया है
And this Shaheed which I have mentioned,
ये बशीर अहमद साहब
Mukarram Mubashir Ahmad Khosa Sahib,
जलाल साहब
son of Muhammad Jalal Sahib of Satellite of Mirpur Khas Satellite Town in Mirpur Khas,
मीरपुर खास हैं जिनको
who was
22 सितंबर को
who was martyred on 22nd September. He was doing his practice in homeopathic clinic,
नामालूम अफराद ने
and two unknown people, they fired at him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. He was a martyr.
तफसीलात के मुताबिक डॉक्टर मुबशर
According to the details, Dr. Mubashir Sahib,
खास सांगर के अपने क्लिनिक
he was working in his clinic.
और मामूल के मुताबिक
As a routine, he was checking the patients, and from the lady side, when he came to the men's side, and he was not yet on his chair, two unknown people, they came on motorbike, and one of them, he entered into the clinic, and he started firing, opened the fire upon him, and 5-6 bullets were hit his head and chest, and as a result of that he passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un.
खानदान का ताल्लुक डेरा
His family relates with Dera Ghazi Khan in 1954. Muhammad Jalal Sahib, his father, in Noor Nagar district Umar Court, he shifted there,
मरहूम के खानदान में
and in his family the Ahmadiyyat came through his father.
1954 में
In 1954 the Ahmadiyyat was introduced, and did the Bai'at at the hand of Hazrat Khalifa Msih Sani. And Dr. Sahib, when he became the Ahmadi, then he was thrown out of his home,
उनको मुकर्रम गुलाम
and at that point Ghulam Rasul Sahib of Mohammadabad gave him the protection, and he gave her daughter in the marriage, and then he went to Kundri, and then he started another job. In 1974
आटा चक्की
the grinding mill which he established, that was put on fire, and
बहरहाल इनके वालिद ने
anyway his father,
सख्तियां
he also suffered some hardship.
67 में ये कुंडली
In 67 he was born in Kundri. After matriculation in Umarkot
मोहम्मदाबाद में
in Mohammadabad,
बात की मजमीनें
there is Jamaat has got the property there. Then he went to Karachi, and then had some studies,
DHMS का कोर्स किया
and
कोर्स किया
then did a course of dispensary.
और शादी के बाद फिर
And after the marriage in 1995, he came to Mirpur Khas,
वहाँ क्लिनिक का
and after some time he started his clinic.
अल्लाह ने शहीद
Allah Almighty was able to cure a lot of people, and the elders of the area, they respected him as the doctor, and as a homeopathic doctor he carried out his job, and all the people knew about his Ahmadi, but never anybody opposed him. So much so that there is a non-Ahmadi mosque next to clinic. The Imam Masjid of that mosque never opposed him. He never had said anything against the community, but he was in good terms with the Doctor Sahib. And there are some mullahs who have got this element of decency. Allah Almighty give them more guidance. The late Shaheed, he was Secretary Mubayin of in the Jamaat, and he was doing the service. And apart from that, in various organizations and various Jamaat positions, he has been working. Dr. Abdul Manan Siddiqui, during his period of Amarat, he was member of the district administration, and all the new converts he used to make the arrangement of their food, and also paid the expenses of their travel. He was very fond of tabligh and service to the people. He went to the Kashmir when the earthquake was there. Anyway, he was in the forefront of in the service to mankind, very hospitable, and he used to always look after the food of the members and others. He was a very simple man, extreme devoted to Khilafat and obedience as well. He was outstanding. He used to offer the regular prayer, used to offer the nawafil, always very, very soft-spoken. Good morals, and a man of good morals. He was a very person of great good personality. He was only 47 years. He was a Musi, and always the Secretary Mal says, the Secretary Vasaya has mentioned that Dr. Sahib, in the payment of the chanda, he was very active. Always he used to pay more than the budget and also on time. And he had the great desire for the education of the children, and our daughters are in medical college, and the two sons are also under education, having education. He was in the habit of chewing the bitter nut, and he left this habit that when one has to repeat the wording of the Durood, then this thing stops that, and it's not good to have that. So his one son saw that he in the dream he saw that his father with the Dr. Abdul, another martyr of the Ahmadiyyat, and once the mother of the martyr, she saw that he is standing on a very lofty position, and he has left one wife and two daughters, and who is she? One is married to a person in Karachi, and the other is also a student in college. Two sons, one is 18 years, and he is preparing for the entry test, and one is 15 years old son. Allah Almighty exalt the station and the status of the Shaheed Marhum and his parents and children. Allah Almighty give them the comfort and look after the children, and all the good desires that he had about his children, may Allah fulfill all that. Regarding him, Ataul Wahid Bajwa Sahib, who is a teacher in Jamia Ahmadiyya Rabwa, he says that I am from Mirpur Khas, and our house was very close to his house. I have seen him from very close. He was very good-mannered person. He used to always talk to the people with a smile on his face, and in a very attractive way of talking. He used to make the whole meeting very lively. And he used to show respect to all the missionaries. In the summer, whenever I used to go there to the Mirpur, then I used to meet him in the mosque. And as a Waqf-e-Zindagi, he used to meet me with great respect, although they were more than my age. But he used to show that respect that I was also, I feel very humbled. He was always with a smile on his face, and the people of the area are surprised that why he has been killed. He was a very kind person. He had this feeling of service to mankind. Completely his heart was filled. And the people mentioned these sentiments at the time of his martyrdom. He says that the children are very strong and steadfast, and I thought that perhaps he will be losing his control, but he did not become overwhelmed. But he said that now there are two martyrdoms in Mirpur Khas. The former Sadr of Lajna says that at the time of martyrdom, even the non-Ahmadis came for expressing their sorrow, and the ladies also came. And these ladies are related to that area where his clinic was. They said that we used to take medicine from the Dr. Sahib, and once a poor lady came for the treatment, he gave the medicine and also asked her to abstain certain things. And the lady said okay, but the style was such that she was a poor, she could not do that. But so he immediately understood, and all the fee of the treatment, and also gave him some money, and told her that you complete your treatment with this money and take care of your health. So these ladies said, and these people who serve the mankind, these non-Ahmadis, though the opponents of Ahmadiyyat, they select those people and kill them. Anyway, this is the feeling, this is the thinking of these enemies, that through these barbaric actions that they are doing it, they are going to weaken our faith. By the grace of Allah, I have received so many letters that we are firm in our faith and there is nothing to worry. Allah Almighty, in place of one Shaheed, Allah Almighty gives us hundreds of dedicated workers. We should pray to Allah Almighty that Allah Almighty now in Pakistan keep all the Ahmadis under His protection. His brother writes that in a very wise way he used to settle the family matters, and all the family members used to consult him. And he used to look after the brothers and sisters, and there were some financial problems of his sister. So her husband had to go to jail. He looked after the children. He was always looking after them. The third janaza is of Al-Hajja sister Naima Latif Sahiba. Al-Hajj Jalaluddin Latif Sahib, Sadr Jamaat of USA. He was a wife. She was not feeling well for some time, and she was preparing for the Zuhr prayer when he passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Sister Naima Latif, in 1939, he was born in a Christian family in West Virginia. She got the education there, and she served in the medical department of the university, and during the war looked after the injured people in the war, and she was very abiding by the law and a very peaceful lady. In 1974 she accepted Ahmadiyyat, and after personal study she made great advancement in the faith. In Jalsa 2000 here in UK, she came to see Hazrat Khalifa al-Masih Rabe. Huzur said to him that you look like a born Ahmadi. Sister Naima, she never missed the Jummah prayer, always attended the Jummah programs, the fasting in Ramadan he never missed, and acting upon the teaching of Islam regularly. every week she used to offer the optional fast. He performed the itikaf as well. In the welfare work, humanitarian work, he always took part. And the weak people who couldn't reach the mosque, she used to provide the transport for these people. In 2002, and along with a big wafd delegation of the American Jamaat, he performed the Hajj in order to include his children include in them in Jummah. He used to take leave for these children, and she was reciting the Quran regularly, and also made the same habit in the children. And the Maghrib prayer was offered collectively in congregation, and the children from the around area, they used to come. He was very advanced in financial sacrifices, and whenever she got any gift from the husband, she would give as she said that whenever you give me the gift, I give it for the mosque fund. So it's better, she said, that instead of giving me this gift, you just pay something on my behalf in the mosque fund. Such ladies of dedication and sacrifice have been granted to the Jamaat. And she strongly disliked the backbiting. If somebody would, she would say that I don't want to eat the flesh of a dead person. And I wish that this habit should be there in the not only in the ladies, also with men, because that will remove all the problems in our community. She was completely lost in the love of Khalifa and Khilafat, and obedience to the Khalifa was the foremost. During the visit of Hazrat Khalifatul Msih Salis, after listening to the Huzur's address regarding the parda, she started observing parda, and she was the only lady who was seen with the parda. In that, she used to write always for the prayer, and she has come to the Jalsa many times, and she used to meet, and she was a lady of great dedication. As National Secretary of Waqf Jadid and in so many other offices, she had the honor of serving the community, and by the grace of Allah, she was a Musia. Jalaluddin Latif Sahib is her husband, and she has left behind sons and daughters, and all of them, they are taking part in Jamaat and taking part in the Jamaat activities. The whole family is dedicated to the Jamaat, taking part. Jalal Sahib himself and his children. The daughter, I think, is very much advanced in dedication. Every year she comes for the Jalsa. Allah Almighty exalt this status of the mercy on her, and also give comfort and solace to the husband and to the children. And there is a janaza which is here. Therefore, after the Jummah prayer, I will go out to lead the janaza prayer. All members should stay here and make the rows for joining in the janaza prayer.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر.